Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is life themes, the stories that sort of provide the underscoring of our lives that show themselves over and over and become sort of an anthem for us in our lives and can serve as our greatest learning and our greatest source of transformation. So we're going to have a conversation about that. But before we get started, let's take a couple minutes to get present. So let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, all your organs, bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale, exhale any tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant, bright light lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating and electrifying and energizing all your cells, your molecules, your electrons, creating a brilliant beam of light and energy from your heart out into the world. And as you exhale, exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's press our palms together, vigorously rub your hands together to feel the friction, the temperature, the pressure, the motion, the tickling and tingling as you stop, and allow all those sensations to bring you present right here, right now, into this remarkable physical form that enables us to experience life. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, Rosalind. So good to have you here with us this morning, and welcome to everyone else who's joining us. So today we're talking about life themes, and we could also consider this like a core wound, perhaps. And it may be that that doesn't correlate for everybody, but for instance, a life theme for me had been not belonging and being an outsider. Welcome, Juliana J. from Ireland. How wonderful to have you joining us. So we just sort of chat about different ideas every morning, and today we're talking about life themes. So I invite you to look at a theme that has been recurrent or consistent through your life, because that theme can be the source of our greatest transformation, of our greatest awakening, kind of our own hero or shero's journey. So for me, it was not belonging, and that resided on all different levels. And over the years, I don't know if it's 100% entirely gone, but it has served to provide a pathway, although it wasn't in any way comfortable or conscious for most of my life. It's provided a profound pathway for growth and self-acceptance and self evolution or evolution, just my passage in my life. And I'm taking the liberty of suggesting that there's probably a theme like that in your life that has been an ongoing tone underlying the symphony of your particular experience. And while we might be perceiving these themes as challenges or inadequacies or flaws in some way, shape, or form, what if instead they hold the key to our greatest fulfillment? What if that's sort of the, as I said, the underlying tone for our lives against which the other experiences of life play out? So as you're looking, what do you notice? What do you notice in terms of something that has recurred in different dimensions through your life? So I have personally experienced, and I have encountered and interacted with many people who have also experienced a recurrence of the same old, it looks like the same old issues again and again, just coming around the bend. There it is again. I've worked on that forever. I can't believe it's still here. And the thing I want to talk about in regard to that is the spiral of change, the spiral of growth. And what, if you can visualize an upward spiral, what happens is we revisit the same degrees on the compass, so to speak, but from a different elevation. And so through our evolution, through our path of growth and transformation, these issues, these themes get revisited from different vantage points, from a different perspective, because we're evolving all the time. Well, hopefully we're evolving all the time. And so we have the opportunity to revisit these issues, and what happens is our perspective on them and on ourselves in relation to them evolves. So let's see what Juliana says. To be a human soul is to be longing for a connection called home. They move us into expanded consciousness, sussing the people and places to find vibrations that match. So good morning, April. Wow, welcome. So good to have you here with us this morning. So good we're having a party, ladies. I'm loving this. So longing for connection. So as I said, for me, the primary theme was belonging or not belonging. And we have different variations on those themes. Some of us, it's not good enough. Some of us, it's a matter of feeling disconnected. So Juliana, you're saying longing for connection called home. I think that's probably fundamental to so many of us, and it may not be universal, right? But what we're looking at is this spiral of change or transformation that allows us to be exploring different dimensions of a particular theme, experience, perspective. And interestingly, if I were to just sort of look back and try to track this thing around belonging for me as an example, it was feeling not belonging in my family, not belonging in community, not belonging in the human story, like really just feeling like, what is this? I don't get it. And I still am often quite perplexed at what this human experience is, what it means to be human, why humans do what we do, and feeling othered in a lot of ways. And I'm guessing I'm not really alone in that. Rosalind says, a running theme is I'm not enough. So for so many people, Rosalind continues, one of the inroads for healing this wound was I am loved. It led me down the road of non-duality and opened up the inquiry to what is the meaning of life. It doesn't end. The inquiry continues. I agree 100%. The inquiry continues, and that's what pulls us back around and around on that spiral, because um, we can go more deeply into what does it mean. So when we look at I am not enough, one of the questions that I think is a really helpful one is according to who? According to whom and according to what? Not enough for what? To do what? And looking at this place of sufficiency, like when we think about being part of nature, when we think about being an expression of life itself, if you watch nature, do you see that animals, like a fox, is a fox going to say, I'm not enough? A fox is just being a fox, right? A fox is here and alive and being a fox. Cats and dogs, they're alive and being enough. They're being themselves. Domestic animals, maybe it's a little different because they're very much connected to our human experience and our human awareness in a different way than wild nature might be. But when we look at nature's creatures, they're being, and they're sufficient in their being. They're just being themselves, right? Where humans, this not enoughness that we experience is something that is very much imposed upon us and inherited from our families, our cultures, where we're driven to be more. Whatever it is, we're driven to be more. Like it's always about more. And the way that we're taught to evaluate our enoughness is by externalities, like things that we own or people we know or things that we've accomplished, or all these things that are outside of just being sufficient by virtue of the fact that we're here, just being enough and belonging, even because just by virtue of the fact that we're here. We are part of life expressing itself. And it's interesting, Rosalind, that you found that your pathway to heal was to be present to I am loved. And I think that the embrace of the experience of that love that you have created a connection to can give you that enoughness. And when, for me, and maybe this is another expression of the same thing, coming to identifying myself, not with my behaviors, not with my roles, not with my physicality, but to identify myself rather as an expression of life expressing itself, as an expression of life expressing itself, being a vehicle for life's expression. That frees me from all those identifiers in so many ways. Juliana put in a link to a song that helped to heal her. That's beautiful. I look forward to checking it out, Juliana. Thank you. So and I invite everybody to check it out and see if it's powerful for you as well. So I think the themes that we have through our lives are probably very identified or very interwoven with our identification with our personalities, with our experience. And the thing is that we're not our behaviors. We're not our thoughts. We're not our beliefs. In other words, we're not bound. We're not the limit of our experiences, the limits of our thoughts, the limits of our beliefs, the limits of our behaviors are not our limits. So if that's the case, what are we? I had such an interesting conversation yesterday with one of my clients who's actually remarkable. I have this tremendous privilege to work with extraordinary people in my core connection practice. And this person was recounting that they had recently read something about from someone who was talking about our mind being the compilation of the structures. I don't know if I'm getting this exactly right, so disclaimer there. But our mind being a compilation of structures created to hold the pain that we have experienced in our lives. And I make a parallel between that and Eckhart Tolle talking about the pain body. And what happens is we create all these responses to pain and to disruption and challenge in our lives. And then we live out of those structures as if that's who we are, rather than that's something that is overlaid upon our essence. You know, our beliefs are overlaid, our behaviors are overlaid, our habits, our patterns, our thoughts, they're overlaid upon this essence of fluid consciousness. And that allows us the experience of life that is a moving, flowing, fluid presence that animates all this other stuff. And so why even bother thinking about that? Well, there's a tremendous freedom that it makes available to us when we can recognize that we're not limited, that we're not bound by our history. And so much of our present and our future is dictated by the way we deal with our history, the way that we incorporate it, the way that we identify with it, the way that we carry it around. And so these themes are kind of our if we can look at our lives as an epic story or an epic drama, not as who we are, but this play that we're playing out in life, or a movie that we're playing out. And that there's a part of us that is the actor, and the theme is the script, if that makes any sense. So like we're playing out these roles, and yet we can observe those roles. We can rewrite those roles in many ways. These are like how we're expressing as humans into the world. And yet the role is a role. It's not who we are. And we do have the ability to be shedding these overlays, to be shedding these structures that have contained pain, but not just pain. And as we shed more and more of that, what happens is that our essence is freer to emerge and express, and we can become a more fluid expression of our essential being, which is a dance with life itself. So Juliana says, very, very true, perfect, important, but sometimes tough to take the pen back in the story of our lives. Well, that's exactly true. The thing is that there's this wonderful way that we create an illusion for ourselves, and that culture helps to create for us, you know, our inherited family cultures and social cultures too. Our shared history is telling us that we don't have the pen, right? But the truth is, I think, and just because I think it doesn't make it true. So check in for yourself and see if it resonates. But we always have the pen. We just don't know it. And oftentimes we pretend that we don't have the pen because it makes it more exciting. You know, it makes the adventure of life a whole lot more exciting if we can say, all this is happening to me, and I don't have any role in it. And I'm not saying, and this is such an important thing, when I say that we all are writing our own lives, whether we realize it or not, I'm not saying that it's our fault that we're having circumstances that cause great suffering to ourselves and or others. I think that that's an easy way to misinterpret this notion of our sovereignty and our power in creating our own lives. The thing is, we have conditions. We have been conditioned. We have been bewitched in so many ways by spells cast about how reality exists and about who we are. And we received those, not even consciously. As kids, we didn't know any different, right? We were just said or told, here's reality, this is how it works. And we believed it, right? And so in that belief, not even knowing that there were options, we then live through that. We live into that. And then we have the ability. So in living into that, by the way, we're still writing the script. Eventually, you know, what's happened is it's kind of the script is handed over and we keep writing the same script that we were handed, right? We don't even realize that that's what's happening. So it's not a conscious thing. It's not my fault, for instance. You know, if there's all kinds of drama in my life, I'm not saying it's my fault. I'm saying that there is a power that we can each reclaim in becoming conscious and deliberate authors of our lives. And part of this is that, you know, it's like a radio being tuned to a certain frequency. You only receive certain wavelengths, right? As that, or certain programming when you're tuned to a certain frequency. Once we realize that we have the ability to retune that radio, we can open up whole new worlds for ourselves. So it's not a matter of blame. It's not my fault, your fault, any of that. So Juliana says we must submit the script of the past to reclaim the truest aspect of our soul story. So I'm not sure what you mean by submit, but we definitely need to recognize the script, right? And there are ways that we can dissolve those spells. There are ways that we can do a massive rewrite. We tend to think that the past is a fixed commodity. It's not. It is not. I do work with people all the time recreating the past, because the fact of the matter is that we are in this moment recreating the past. We are in this moment telling the stories of the past. So we're generating it here right now. And we can tell a new story. And when we tell a new story, we have a new experience. I can't tell you how many times where I've gone back to a traumatic event with a client where their little child self was feeling alone and frightened and wounded. And we have gone back where they have been able as an adult to offer that child the comfort and the companionship that that child needed in that moment. And it transformed the experience of that child to know that they were not alone. Now that's rewriting the past. And when that past has gotten rewritten, that child who felt so alone and who grew into the adult is now growing into a different human. I know it challenges the notion of a linear timeline, but time exists right here, right now. This is the only moment. And so whatever we're pulling from our past, we're pulling it into this moment. Whatever we're projecting in the future, we're projecting it from this moment. And in this moment, we can rewrite those traumas. We can go back and say to that kid, you know what? It worked out okay. And you're okay. And by the way, you're loved. And it's, in a way, it seems crazy that such a thing could be so powerful, that it's experienced as a reality, and that then as a result of that shift, it's like dominoes moving up to the present. Because if that little child self was not abandoned, was not stupid, was not alone, was not terrified, had some comfort, was able to find some safety, then the trajectory of that child's life is transformed in a radical way. And it bubbles up like dominoes to the present moment, to the present human, to the present adult. Miraculously. Because our mind does not distinguish between what is real, which is a big question, and what is vividly imagined. And so if we can vividly imagine this experience with a younger self that is so profoundly healing, that bubbles up into the present as a new history. And when there's a new history, what we've done is we've created a new trajectory for life. And this can happen at any age. So when we look at life themes, we always hold the pen. We just didn't know it. And once we start to know it, we can start learning how to rewrite the story and the script. That it's not something that has been handed to us that we have no power in. We actually do have the power to author our lives. And we just get to claim it. So that's it for today. I'm so delighted that you all came and joined us this morning. And I'm Mira Rubin, and I go live here each weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page and YouTube channel. And I invite you to like, follow, and share Enlightened World Network and me. The links are in the description. And as always, it is such a privilege and pleasure to have these conversations about life and being human and what that looks like, and how we can find our greatest fulfillment. So until next time.